Hey guys, it's me, KJ from The Scariest Movie Ever, also from the KJ Osborne YouTube channel, and also the host of Rigged Reality Radio. The episode you're about to watch is the last episode of Rigged Reality Radio with KJ Osborne. The good news is that I'm stopping this version of Rigged Reality Radio so I can bring you a different version here in the next few months. Instead of just a radio show, I'm actually going to create my own radio network. There are a lot of reasons for doing this. A lot of different factors come into play. I'll spare you all the details, but I definitely need a few months to kind of build this and create the format. What I'm creating here is going to be more of a community. There's going to be a lot of shows there. There's also going to be a message board there. There'll be chat, a radio network where you can come to and just flip play, and hopefully for hours you can just sit there and listen to all different kinds of voices with all different views on what's happening right now, as far as biblical prophecy unfolding, New World Order news, and everything else that comes in between. I'm really proud of what I did with Rigged Reality Radio. I'm proud to have that as something I've accomplished, I've completed, and it can still be accessible to people out there, and I think it'll continue to grow an audience. And that's cool, because by the time we get more of an audience built up there, we'll have the new Rigged Reality Network available. I'll have a new show. It could be a different format. I'm working on the formatting of this show. It'll be a little more professional. If you listen to Rigged Reality Radio, you know I had a lot of technical problems all the time. One of the other issues I had was the fact that I was on PSN Radio. Now I do deeply appreciate Angel for giving me the opportunity to have the radio show there, but my show was definitely different than all the others. You could not find the same kind of information there, and that's another thing that got me thinking. I'd really like to have a community, once again a community where it's not just my show, it's a bunch of different shows, but we're all kind of in the same area. We all have open minds, we're all about enlightenment, we're all truth seekers. And lastly, I just want to thank you. Thank you for helping me to make Rigged Reality Radio a success. There were two things I really appreciate the most about the show. First and foremost, it was a chance for me to actually interview some of my own heroes, researchers I like a lot. And it's cool, it's just a way of expanding the community, and that's been great. And the other great part about the show for me was getting a chance to talk to you, having open lines, having you guys call in, us just chatting. So don't worry, there's going to be plenty more of that on the new radio show, and much more. Please just understand this was the natural evolution I needed to take. If you look back through my history, I made my movie about 8 years ago. After that, I'd run a website for many years. I started making YouTube videos. Then I started the radio show. Creatively, I have to continually expand. It's just the way I am. So, once again, I really appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. I appreciate all the great messages and all the support, folks. And I really look forward to you joining me at Rigged Reality Radio Network here in the near future. Hey folks, how you doing out there tonight? This is KJ with Rigged Reality Radio. Radio! You like how I said that? Rigged Reality Radio! Sorry, I'll stop doing that now. Hey guys, welcome back to the show once again. It's January 1st, 2015. This is New Year's Day, so what's ahead? And what are the topics? I get that question a lot. What are the topics? You know, it's open lines, and that's how we've been doing it here for quite a while now, just running open lines. So I'm actually going to lay down a few kind of ground rules for that as well. It's been really cool. I like the experiment myself. It's been a lot of fun, and of course there's no screener over here. So with that, even last week it got a little bit chaotic. I mean, I'd put like 3 people on the line at once and stuff, you know. So I mean, it was what it was. I still think it was cool. But tonight, what I'll try to do is just keep it one at a time, one conversation going at a time. And if I bring a second caller in, like you'll know you're in. You're going to hear us talking. And all I ask is just make sure the radio's down or whatever in the background, and just kind of, if you could just be quiet for a little bit and listen in, then I'll kind of invite you in a little bit. But I'm going to try to run it a little bit slower and smoother tonight, the best I can. And really tonight it's kind of our show. There's plenty of things to talk about, but there will be open lines for 2 hours, and I think I've got a call right here actually. So let me just go ahead and jump right into it, guys. Let's go ahead and do this. There are some things I wanted to discuss concerning my channels during the new year and everything. But I'll get to that here shortly. So I think I got somebody on the line here. Is somebody on the line here with us?
Hi.
Hello? Hey, how you doing?
Is this KJ?
Yeah, this is KJ. Who am I speaking with?
Hi, KJ. This is Renee. I've been following you for well over a year, and this is the first time I've been able to get through the line. How are you? Happy New Year.
Hey, thanks. I'm doing really good. Thanks for calling, too. So I'm sure you kind of know the idea tonight. I just wanted to have it open lines and see what you guys think. You know, I mean, of course, I'll have my opinions as well, but how was your 2014 looking back? Did you ever have that kind of moment of retrospection?
Yes, I have. It's been a difficult year. I mean, I've followed you for a long time, and I just kind of wanted to ask you, you have open lines tonight. I wanted to talk to you a little bit. I'm married, and I wanted to talk about interfaith relationship. I'm married to a Catholic, and
oh, cool, great subject.
Yes, I'm more of the Protestant faith myself. When I say that, really what I mean is I'm not a Christian. My faith is in God, and I've struggled. I have a difficult time with my husband because I cannot show him any of this New World Order stuff that is going on. I showed him proof, and I spent over 2 years documenting all of the things that go on. And I've relentlessly studied Malachi Martin, and
oh, yeah.
I try to share all of this with him, but he will not look at it. And when I even show him proof of all of this, it turns out into an argument, and it's very frustrating to me because, I really love him a lot. He has a really good heart, and but we just have absolutely no relation in the fact that, I'm just getting very bitter because I feel that he doesn't want his world paradigm view to be changed, and it's really tough thing for me. I've been dealing with it for 4 years, and I follow you, and there's another man that I really respect, Unplug him, who is just fantastic and says it like it is, and I try to share these things with my husband, what's going on. And even with the current administration that rules America.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, I just want to throw in there real quick, too. And also, when you first called and when I answered, I had my volume turned up way too loud. So what was your name again, if you wanted to give us a name?
Yes, it's Renee.
Can you spell that?
Renee. It's Rene. I'm calling from Seattle.
Oh, Renee. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah,
yeah.
Just cool, Renee. Okay, cool. Yeah, no, hey, everything you're saying is, I've been there, and I've actually been kind of dealing with a lot of that myself, kind of personally, over the last few months, the difference between religion and faith, and that's hard to explain to a lot of people. But you know what I do? The whole time you were talking about your situation, and don't feel alone in that, by the way. There's a lot of people in that, in interfaith, mixed faith marriages or whatnot, and even relationships. But this may sound kind of random, but it's something I do, and just one of the ways I kind of try to gain perspective on things. But do you ever picture, I'll just say this, try this sometime, or even just right now, just us talking. I mean, in your mind, picture you're in a room and there's no furniture, there's nothing else in there, and then God appears. And I'm not even telling you what God looks like. You've already got an image. So you see God right there in the room with you. And what do you think God would say if you told God this exact situation? And usually I try to listen to the first answer it pops in my head. I know that sounds kind of strange, maybe, but that's one of the ways I kind of look for guidance. Does that make any sense to you?
It really does. It really does. But I want to tell you something. I am a literate study of occultism, esoteric, everything. I study everything so that I have knowledge, and especially Catholicism, which, in no offense against Catholic people, I love everybody and I don't want to offend anybody. It's just that the Jesuits control everything that goes on within the Vatican. And there's a lot of satanic stuff that is going on. And yet,
absolutely,
my husband has been indoctrinated into Catholic faith. And since my husband is 61 years old and I'm 50,
yeah.
And so this is a very difficult thing, his whole family and everybody. And, he turns a blind eye. He doesn't understand, what I'm saying. He thinks, that everything that I get from the internet is of the devil. The devil is the internet. Well, I tell him I don't listen to mainstream media. I don't watch any news. I'm not indoctrinated by all the symbolism that is programmed everyone. And let me tell you another thing. He's obsessed with, here's what's so beautiful, everybody, football. Right now,
yeah, there we go.
On January 1st, I'm downstairs while he's watching all of the college football. He's obsessed. He comes downstairs and he's telling me about the Seahawks or whoever. I don't give a flying fig. And he has no interest in anything, yet, here it is. It's 5:08 Pacific Standard Time, my time, and I've been studying the Bible and studying everything for probably 7 hours, looking into everything because I see all of the changes going on, but yet he doesn't want to see the reality of the brainwashing that's going on. I don't watch television at all. I do not watch it.
I gotcha.
I read 5 books a week, and I try to educate myself.
Let me ask you a question, too, if you don't mind me asking. How long have y'all been married?
4 years.
4 years?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Okay. Yeah, the whole time you're telling me that, and I'm picturing the whole thing, and man, I've got friends in those situations. I've been in those situations myself. I know exactly where you're at. Again, it's something that not everybody deals with, but some of us do, and I know exactly where you're coming from. But I think on last week's show I'd mentioned that really one of my big life philosophies personally is just kind of be a leaf on the water. I really just go with the flow. I make sure I talk to God daily, of course, and everything else, and I just kind of roll with things. And whenever I find a lot of resistance in my life, like I'll find a bunch of just some kind of negative energy, no matter what it's coming from somebody else or a situation or whatever it is, but if I run into something like that, then I just let it go. It's taken a long time to get there, but this is one thing I do, and I kind of was thinking the same thing as you were talking about your husband. That's a tough situation, because what's happened is you're enlightened on a different level. You're on a different level of understanding than someone you love, and it's something we all deal with. I saw family myself a little bit for New Year's Day earlier today, and even with my own family, I love them. I got a great family, but there's a side of me that feels very disconnected sometimes, just because I can't talk about all the stuff that we like to talk about here and on my YouTube channel, right? So I could, but then they look at me like I'm cuckoo, so I just have to. We all kind of deal with that, and I think that's just goes hand in hand with where we're at with this kind of awakening that's taking place, if you will, and everything else that's happening. And we know there's a lot happening. So this is what we're going to see.
I'm sorry, but you're absolutely right. And that's, he thinks I'm a conspiracy theorist, as he says it. I'm really not, because a lot of the conspiracy theories that people put out there are actually true. And, everybody wants to deem you as uncredible people, and that, you're just reading things into things, and they try to make you feel like you're crazy and all of these types of things. But, I don't, I have a good relationship with I have a brother, Jason, who's on the same page as I am.
Good.
With everything. But, it's really great to be able to communicate with him, because he's really biblically knowledgeable, and he knows the parables, and he knows a lot more biblically knowledgeable than I am, however, but always, tries to lead me in the right direction. But, I first started out, the very first person I listened to was Alex Jones, and I had he was a little abrasive, really, for me at first, but I really got.
But Renee, I don't.
The rabbit hole. The rabbit hole led me. So
well, Alex Jones woke me up too, so don't feel too bad. And I've said before, there'll always be a kind of a side of me that will still go check out things he does from time to time, but it's not the same as it used to be. I just can't follow him that way, because same thing, he would he gets you wrecked. I always joke and mock him, but it really is. It's like, and they're kicking down your door, and they're beating your wife, and you're crying like a child. It's just horrific images. And he had me scared to death. And that was even back when I was back out in L.A. when I first started getting into his stuff. So I remember back then, just like, oh my gosh, like I'm going to be in a FEMA camp by March, and it's over, and there's no point. So, and then years later, you see like, oh, I see. Okay, so then that's all part of this kind of awakening and enlightening that's happening. And as we draw closer to the end, as we draw closer to all that's been predicted, right? So we're seeing this happen.
We are seeing it happen, and I understand literally, what you say with regard to your movies. I don't watch any movies, but I understand the symbolism, and that's where you and my brother have a real connection. My brother it understands mathematics and numerology and everything. My brother is a Pisces, he's a 33.
Hey, that's what I am.
Are you serious?
Yes, that's
March 3rd,
yeah, that's why.
8. Oh, this is so weird. And you break down the numbers numerically, and he's 33, like a master number of 33. And
oh my gosh, really? I'm a 22.
Oh, that's so weird.
And I'm March 1st.
Oh, this is incredible. And I'm an Aries.
Oh, cool. Okay. So you're pretty reasonable then.
I fairly am, but I have a really bad temper. I really do. And my brother's very calm. My brother's a very calm, sensible, reasonable, logical, analytical in his thinking, whereas I am more, I'm very passionate about what I believe in, and I get really upset that everybody is trying to make all of us that are faithful followers, who are researchers, who look into everything, as lunatics.
Yeah,
well, really tough. And I want to tell you one thing quickly, KJ. My husband is a 12-year college-educated engineer who is an idiot. Okay, when I say that, and I only say, and I love him. Okay, I love him dearly, but I say this to his face, because whatever I say behind your back, I would say to your face.
Of course.
He has no common sense whatsoever. I say this to him all the time, and he'll say, you berate me. I don't berate him. I'm trying to open his eyes, because I am not college educated. I went through the school of hard knocks, and I'm streetwise. And this old girl at 50 years old, almost 51, I can survive on the streets because I have common sense. And nobody can fool me. And
Renee,
I don't believe in mainstream media. I don't believe in all this programming that's going on with television. I don't even watch it.
you're a smart
Yet
woman.
I can't. Yeah, I'm smart. I'm a smart woman, but not to my husband.
Well, that's okay because, well, I mean, again,
Sadly.
I don't know if you heard this last week, and I've brought this analogy up a few times in the past. It was from Confucius, and I like a lot of Confucius things I'd read throughout
I
the
do
years.
too.
But
I
yeah,
love him. I love.
he was
Yeah,
cool, and I mean, so I'm
very
down,
cool.
and even he understood the language of symbols and whatnot. But I read this thing he was talking about when you're trying to teach somebody something or whatever, and stop me if you heard this already. But he says, give them a half a cup of water. He talks as if they're thirsty. Give them a half a cup of water and walk away and let them finish it. And if they want more, they'll come back. And when they do, just give another half a cup and keep doing that. But if they don't come back, I mean, just you got to let it go, and that's kind of the way I look at it as well. And I think I see again, I think you and I may be on the same page. And I don't know my Bible back and forth very well. There's only certain parts of it I go to. And when I do, to me, it's more of a spiritual thing, a connection I'm getting personal, a guidance through, I guess is the way to put it, But that's the way I've always looked. So I'm not the best at understanding my Bible back and forth, but there is some kind of scripture, I imagine, right, to where it's kind of the same thing. Didn't Jesus preach something like that about when you're trying to teach somebody, you can only maybe tell them twice, and if they don't listen, just walk away?
I agree with you, and I'm not Bible literate either. I do study it a lot, but I cannot quote scriptures. Now, my brother is the master of all of it. I mean, he can tell you every date and who's connected to who, but not myself.
Yeah.
I am not very literate in it, but my faith is to God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit.
There we
And,
go.
I'm going to tell you, and there's something that happened the other night. My husband came down, and, he got mad at me because I think I probably called him an idiot. And he says, well, you're not a very good Christian. And I said, you got that right. I am not a Christian. Don't call me that ever. I said, but my faith is with God. I said, you're right. I said,
Man, that'll get you into some trouble.
I always
I'm the same
am.
way, though.
I mean, I love him. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to berate my husband. That's not
I know,
what
that's
I'm
okay.
trying to do. I'm trying to open up his eyes because I'm not going to be a follower of mainstream. I won't do it. And when I have documented proof, I've spent hours. I've got almost 3 years of documented proof of the New World Order and the symbolism. And, he was in Denver, Colorado, for God's sakes. I said, did you not even pay attention to the airport? Did you not look at their murals? Can you not see the signs? Oh, it's just beautiful art. Beautiful art? Really? Really? I'm married to you? I said, did I make a bad choice or what?
No, you're all right.
This is my lesson. This is my lesson.
Who knows?
Come on. Come on. I mean, do you not know what's going on when you're at the Denver? There's underground tunnels. You know what's going on. Come on.
No, I really appreciate
America.
Yeah, I appreciate your just being upfront about all this too, because like I said, I know that it's reaching other people out there as well. There's lots of people that have this in their lives as well. It's hard to explain these things to so many people without looking like a kook or a weirdo, and I just have to let it go, man. Like I said, I see it all the time on my videos, and it bums me out sometimes. I get instead of people paying attention to the video, they're telling me what I should be doing. With the audience I have, I should be preaching more. I should have more scripture. I should be this. I should be that. And that bums me out because there's a big influx of that I've noticed coming at me through both channels and my, of course, main channels. Yeah.
You need to ignore that, KJ. I want to tell you something. I was on your KJ channel last week, and I was absolutely, I'm telling you, heartbroken. I saw a message where you said you were, not going to be on for a while, and I've been listening to you over a year, and this is the first time I've ever called, and I said, oh, my God, if really, Jay, really? I'm like, I was literally heartbroken because you speak the truth and you are such a gentle, kind, peaceful soul. Do not ever let anybody, make you feel like you are a brilliant man. God gave you a gift that is beyond anything that I could ever imagine. You I wish that I had the type of mind that you did, or the type of mind my brother does. I wish I could see you and my brother. This is so weird because, he's a Pisces too. He's obsessed with movies, and he's always telling me about symbolism in movies, and he'll tell me to
That's
watch
part
this
of it.
movie. And I never watch movies because I have, I can't stand horror. He loves horror movies. Not that he loves them; it's that he depicts them.
The same reason I probably do too. He's probably looking at a lot of deeper elements when he's watching. When I watch movies, I'm not watching the movie so much as I'm watching the interpersonal relationships and like, why would this person react that way? I mean, it gets heavy, and that's probably what he does too. It's just our nature. We get really, really deep, and that's where we're also kind of sensitive. I've got a hard shell, but there's times that when I continually get these messages and all they do is question my faith, and are you waterborne, or were you water baptized? How come you don't talk about Jesus more? Why have you done this? Why have you done that? And it's just like it's the devil, because the devil is the one who condemns, who points his finger, right? So it's the accuser. So I have the accusers shaking their finger, but it's through people who are supposed to be my brothers and sisters in Christ, so to speak, yeah? But a lot of times, these are the ones who are very religious, maybe even like kind of Pharisees, if you will, in some respects, but just really hardcore and by the rule and by the law. And KJ, why have you not done this? Why have you tried to do that? So that was all part of the thing that I was even going to say for this year, is that for my channels, I'm actually building a third channel where I'm going to bring up a lot of the, because I lost a channel this year. Looking back this past year, by the way, I'll just put this out there now. Quickly, too, I'll say, Renee, here, we'll do a few more minutes, and I've got somebody that's been patiently waiting on the line, so I appreciate that.
Sure, no problem.
But I'll tell you all this, just a quick update on the channel and everything. So, man, 7 months ago, I lost a channel. I had a channel called Scariest Movie Ever 111, and on that channel, I had over 200 videos, 6 million views, over 25,000 subs. I mean, it was pretty big, and I had lots of videos there. So all that got taken down, and on my main channel, The Scariest Movie Ever, this year alone, I've lost 31 videos. So a lot of those are why you see me re-uploading things, right? And some of them just get banned worldwide. I just lost my Epidemic of Demonic Possession video, or that was 600,000 views or something, but just gone. So that happens with me too, and I'm always praying over protection, of course, for what I do, and I think it is protected, but you're still going to take your lumps. That's what happens with this. So this year what I'm doing is I'm building a third channel also. I'll still be doing videos on both, but I'm going to do a third where I can start uploading all these lost videos, at least the ones I've been able to salvage. And then I was going to do a fourth channel, and that's going to be because, see, I've been feeling over the last year I need to start a different kind of video also, or video. It's bizarre. It's hard to put into words. Your brother will probably understand what I mean. If you explain it to people, they're going to look at you like you're crazy. But if I do it, I think it's going to be something special. But now I've tested it out on my main, or on the KJ channel. I tested out some of these weird or more unusual videos, and they are so hated. It's 10 thumbs down within 5 minutes, and just messages, what has happened to you? You have fallen. This is the worst you've ever done, and stuff like that. So I realized that I love my audience, so to speak. I love my subs, everybody out there, and I get it. But I sometimes I feel there's elements of my audience that can provide me with the tightest of handcuffs, So for whatever reason, my inner side is I've got to do these videos, as strange as it may be. But so I'm going to do this fourth channel this year, and I'm not going to tell anybody what it is. Okay, you can make it an Easter egg hunt if you care enough, but I've got to do these videos. I have to, and they're going to reach a different audience, but it's going to be very cerebral, and it's going to connect with a different group of people. I'll still have my two channels and doing what I do, but I need to do this other one because I know a lot of people wouldn't like it that like my stuff now. I'm not doing anything demonic or with sex or violence, nothing like that. It's just going to be very strange. It's going to be an experiment, but something's telling me I need to do it. So I'm going to do it.
Well,
anyway, I'm rambling.
I think you need to follow. And just remember one thing, AJ. The Prince of the Air controls the airwaves. Satan, with the internet, the cell phones, and everything else. I mean, that's how it is. In KJ, we love you. We love you so much, and keep doing what you're doing. And I so appreciate you taking the time with me and talking
Thanks,
with
Renee.
me. And you are an amazing human being. And don't let the trolls and the shills, you can tell who they are, because we all love you, and thank you so much for taking the time with me. And I've been a loyal listener for over a year to you. And God bless everything that you do, and have a happy New Year's, KJ.
You're awesome. Thank you, Renee, and I'll talk to you soon, okay? Thank you very much. Take care.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, so I've got somebody else who's been patiently waiting on the line, and that's a 443 number, and you're on the line here with KJ, and who am I speaking with?
Hey, KJ. It's Brandon. Well, my name's Brandon.
Hey, Brandon. Thanks for calling, man. How's your New Year's Day?
It's been good so far. Just enjoying the day with my family and all that.
Did you guys eat black-eyed peas?
No, we didn't.
Did you know that's a southern, Midwestern southern custom? My mom still needs to make black-eyed peas for New Year's Day.
Really, I never knew about that.
So go ahead, man. How's things?
Everything's fine, but I've always been dealing with this problem. Maybe I've been doing this for the past 3 years. I'm 18 years old now, and I'm in college, and I'm around so many people who just seem to be asleep. It's like no matter where I go, no matter who I meet, everyone, no one knows anything. They just live their life, they live in the world, they don't know anything. It just seems so strange because I can't meet anyone who thinks like me.
Yeah, man, we were talking about that, me and the last caller, and here's another thing I'll throw at you too, because again, this is a very common experience for us all, so definitely don't feel alone in that. But sometimes I'll just kind of let my Okay, are you still there, man?
Yeah, I'm
Brandon? Okay, cool. Sorry, I'd let another person on, but I think they were talking. They probably didn't realize they were on. So once again, I'm gonna try to run it a little bit smoother tonight than I did last week. So you and I will just chat here for a little bit, okay?
Okay.
But I think about stuff like that too. And like I said, I had my holiday today with some of my family, and same thing. As you're passionate about this stuff and you want to talk about it, and every time you do, it just seems like a disaster, right? So we have to learn to, adapt and overcome, and we have to learn to just kind of, even like with my own family and friends and stuff, that aren't down with this. Yeah, I just try to appreciate them for what they are and the relationship I have with them, and I keep the stuff to myself. And I have a big imagination, so what I do a lot of times, there's a show I liked that came on a long time ago called Heroes. There's a lot of interesting symbolism. I liked some of the special powers, they had, but sometimes I almost look at it like we're all heroes in that way. Like maybe we know a little something that a lot of the other people don't. So instead of trying to force it on them or whatever, just hold on to it, and be cool about it and kind of leak it when you can at the right moments. And I don't know if that helps at all, but you know what I mean?
Like, what I did, I tried it with my mother, for example. And how I used to be maybe 2.5 years ago, I would just try to tell her everything at once. And I used to watch Alex Jones and, say all the things he did, which, I don't watch Alex Jones anymore. But the way I do it now is I take it one at a time. So I might show them one thing, but I won't show them everything I know.
Yeah, that's good.
So, like, for example, how, like something basic to me at least, like, in DC, the layout and the obelisk, and how other places in the world, like the Vatican, they had that similar layout.
Yeah.
Like, I showed that to my mother, and she seemed so shocked, and she, I was happy at least she got something. But, I won't show her everything all at once.
Yeah, seriously, a lot of times those are, to me, in a lot of ways, they're kind of the modern day jump scare video. It's like instead you can show them these startling truths. They're like, wait a second, what? And yeah, I mean, sometimes that's a good approach too. I mean, I don't know, I guess it's all different levels of enlightenment, because ultimately what we're trying to do is make sure that people at least are on God's side. I think is kind of the broader idea, is make sure they're with God. So for me, even a lot of my family, they're definitely there. They don't have the awareness that I do. So what I do is I just rest in that fact. I'm like, okay, they're taken care of. So whether they understand the things I do or not, that whatever, they're okay. Now if I'm around friends or family that don't really get with God, or don't really understand that there's really two sides being shown to us even more and more as this veil lifts, then these are the ones I'll work on. These are the ones I'll show the things to, and
Right. My family, faithful, born-again Christians, a lot of them very traditional, but, for the most part, they know Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and that's okay because even today, like I said, even in my own personal experience, let's get along with them. Let's just love them. Let's get along with them, and because I can go on these rants and I can get fired up about stuff if I don't watch myself, and it's just not cool. Because even though I'm not an Alex Jones type, compared to how docile and conservative my family is, I turn into them. I'm like, and they're kicking down your door, and you're in a FEMA camp, Mom. Now what? So I got to be cool.
Yeah. And another thing I wanted to mention that I noticed at school with a lot of things, like I'll give an example. In my math class, it just seems like there's so much symbolism. Like there's a poster on the wall of a calculator. And what was weird about it was first the graph was in the shape of a triangle, which I would associate with like a pyramid. But the weird thing about it was that there's an arrow pointing to the top, which was the capstone of the pyramid?
Yeah.
I would think like of all the places they would point to, why up there?
No, man, that's a good point.
And also with many of the math problems I've done, I don't know how many times this happened throughout high school and now in college, so many of the answers will always end up like 6.66. But it's not like once in a while, it's all the time. Like every unit, there's always an answer that way, no matter what.
No, it really is. See, that's the thing is, it is really in the fabric of our reality. It's out there so much, and we see it so much that it really is ingrained in so many things. There's an online free game place you can go to, and it's something I did for you. I started in the military, and I still have an account with it, but it's called Pogo.com. Have you ever heard of Pogo.com?
I've not heard of it.
Okay, and I'm not getting any money for Pogo. This is something I've played on for years. It's free, but you can play card games, dominoes, and you play online with other people. You can chat, but it's not like you don't see each other. You're just playing games. And it's fun. So just to waste time throughout the years, I'll go in there, I'll play some spades or some hearts or, whatever, canasta, all kinds of stuff. But what I've noticed throughout the years, too, is even there, there's so much symbolism in Pogo. Anybody can go check it out and just kind of look around. But play some of the games, especially Shuffle Bump. They have a lot of it where it's 666 right in your face, literally, on the shuffleboard thing. You can win this many points, but it's 3 6s in a row, and just all kinds of stuff. And then the all-seeing eye is a character. You can an emoticon, and there's all kinds of stuff. So it's all over, man. And I know that's enough that can drive somebody a little bonkers. I know, because we see it all over the place, and then so many people around us just see none of it.
Right. It's just this world is crazy to me. I had to live through it. I gotta do things, but it just seems it's crazy. It
is, but you know what I say is, honestly, man, embrace the insanity of it, and by that, embrace it, just accept it. Be like, okay, fine. We got comets coming down, we got swarms of UFOs, or whatever the stuff's happening. Why not, man? Bring it. Bring it.
My uncle was the person who got me looking into this stuff. Like before he got me looking into it about 3 years ago, I kind of knew a few things, but it wasn't as much as I knew now. And he's always told me, you don't have to hide away from the world. You can't just go out, do things, you can't hide.
Yep, that's true. Yeah, we still have to live here, and we talk about that sometimes on some of the other shows here as well. It's good to be aware and good to be awake, but just don't forget to live. Don't forget to be in the now, and because otherwise you're not serving your proper purpose, right?
Right.
So, anything else on your mind?
Not really. That's just I had to say that because it's not for me. It's not really that many people to talk with about this kind of stuff. So I just use it. This call as an opportunity to talk about it.
Well, I'm glad you called, man, and I hope you'll call again in the future. Okay, I've got another caller coming in, but it's been really nice meeting you and talking to you. And call us again sometime. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
All right, so I've got somebody else on the line. It's a 630 number. What name would you like to use?
Hey, KJ, this is Anthony from Chicago. How are you?
Oh, hey, Anthony. I'm good, man. I'm good. Welcome to the show. Thanks for your patience. How's things?
Oh, hey. Pretty good.
Are you there, man? I think I may have lost you, or you cut out for a second. You might be driving.
No, I'm actually stationary. Can you hear me?
Oh, okay, there we go. Yeah, I got you. So go for it, man. How's things?
Yeah, how's it going? God bless you, dude. Good show.
Thanks, you too.
Did you do anything for New Year's Eve?
Oh, not really. I just had a couple people over to the house, and that was it. Just kept it on the inside, and that's the best way. And I flipped between channels, watching the different New Year's events. Just of course looking for symbolism. I didn't tell the others, but that's what I was doing, And of course, I didn't really see much anything. How about yourself?
Everywhere. Stayed with my girlfriend and my dogs and had a nice, peaceful night. Kind of fell asleep before midnight, actually, which is pretty common. But it was good. Like I said, yeah, keep it inside. It was nice. Appreciate it. And I like a lot of what you were talking about today. I listened to, all the earlier callers so far, so maybe I can keep with the running theme of just, I guess, apathy or kind of spreading, the good news to, maybe what seems like that fears, a lot of times, and how discouraging it might be. How it can get into people's personal relationships. You can lose friends. You can.
Well, how is it with you and your significant other? I mean, do they understand this stuff? Are they down or?
Oh, I mean, praise Jesus. She is exactly, on the same page. Now, I don't know, how much of that is just by virtue, of my coming to faith, which has been only within the past 9 to 12 months. So very recently for me. I'm 35.
Oh, cool, man! I'm glad you. What kind of put you on that path? What was the catapult?
Like I said, pretty much, the running theme too. Alex Jones, 9/11 for me was eye-opening. But I suppose, again, in my own personal experience, coming up in the Catholic Church made me not believe, and then beyond that, just being in the military, and being kind of, I guess, conspiratorial-minded, or just maybe open-minded, from a young age, and being, not into things like forced vaccinations, and stuff like that. Like, that's actually why I left, the Air Force, was due to forced vaccine, the anthrax vaccine.
Oh, wow, really?
So,
yeah, I think
yeah.
I mentioned this in one of the other shows, but I was a corpsman in the Coast Guard my last 4 years in, and we worked in a clinic. And at one point, they made us all give them our DNA samples. None of us wanted to, so 4 of us lied together and faked everything.
Yeah, I just I converted to Scientology for a while. That's what I did. So I was anti-vaccine for religious purposes.
Oh man, well, what brought you out of that? Because that stuff that was
No,
that was
just
like
in name only, basically.
Oh, I see.
I didn't really believe it, but that's neither here nor there. But that kind of opened my eyes, early on. And then 9/11 was probably the catalyst for me. But I was always temporal. I never looked at things spiritually. I was focused on Alex Jones. I would go to sleep listening to his show, all the time. So who knows? I'm probably programmed, to some degree like that guy. But, I was just more looking at things on that level, day to day, names and faces, not really looking at things spiritually at all. So now, I definitely do. So that's the thing. I think it's kind of discouraging to talk to other people about it because, frankly, I just don't think that they believe fully.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I see it, of course, all the time with the stuff I get into, and that's something I was kind of talking about earlier. But, there's a lot of videos I just don't do at all anymore, and that's why I need a place where I can be unbridled to just do whatever I feel like I got to put out there. Because when I start doing some of the weirder, stranger, funnier videos, people don't seem to dig it. But then when I do the videos where I'm kind of exploring like actual spiritual language in front of us on television and movies and even coded things and things, when I start getting really deep with stuff, I mean, I feel like I lose people. Then people are telling me, hey, you're reaching, you're whatever, get back on your meds, whatever it is. So I just need a place where I can just be free to just whatever the weird stuff is, because even I don't get it sometimes. And that's what scares me. Then I'm like, oh crap, I'm going to put this out. Everyone's going to hate it. And you know what I mean? I just hate having to worry about that.
Not even so much that they're going to hate it because, that's beyond your control, but just whether or not you feel like it's genuinely accurate.
They get it.
I guess
yeah, right.
Well, yeah, I try to do that, a little bit just in talking to people. Sometimes I'm apprehensive about, talking about these things, not so much because I don't want to, freak people out, if you will, or kind of blow their mind, but just more that I'm giving them sound information, like I'm giving them the truth, let's say.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's cool that you've got it does, and it's cool that you've got a wife that supports that and you can talk to about things, and, that's good. I'm sure that helps.
Yeah, we're completely on the level. And, I actually had a really, strange dream. I mean, kind of going with the theme of, the kicking in your door, FEMA camps and everything like that. But I actually had a really vivid dream last night of looking out the top floor of my home, like out the front window, and seeing my entire block getting rounded up. Like getting taken out of their homes, like early morning, and they were just kind of going, all in their blankets and stuff, kind of all huddled together, going out to these vehicles, on buses. I had that dream.
Yeah, that's creepy. I don't know if you've kept up with it or not, but I know there's a lot of people are having similar things, of course, over the last few years. The tsunami dreams are a big deal. And the reason I bring that up, I don't know if you saw the newest video I put up. It was that Obama waving as the world explodes on the cover of that Economist picture. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I saw the Grox breakdown of that earlier too, and then I.
Oh, he did it too. Cool.
Too. Yeah, he did
because
one about that cover of the Economist, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, because in that there's that nuclear, of course, explosion, but it does look like it's in the ocean, and we see all the things connected with New York as well underwater. So there's a lot happening. But then again, there's the other side of it too. I mean, I think a lot of times we forget that these people aren't exactly idiots. They may not have the greatest wisdom, the people that are in charge or at the top of the pyramid, but they're certainly not idiots. So I'm sure they're well aware that there's.
Yet again, not to interject, but I mean, we're looking at them not as those people, essentially, right? I mean, isn't that what you're saying? Also, that it's not really them that you're seeing, in those moments. Do you think that's literal? Or they're just acting as hosts?
Who do you mean now? Which people? I'm talking about like
Obama.
Oh, yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, on a deeper spiritual level, sure. There's certainly, I believe, an entity inside Obama.
You had a show where you talked about maybe Boehner crying because Obama, shape-shifted behind closed doors. Do you remember?
It makes you wonder. Yeah, it really makes me wonder. And then that was the same one where...
I've thought about that several times. I'm like, wow, that's pretty heavy. But, yeah, think that's possible.
Well, sure. I mean, why not, man? I mean, there's so much that we don't know, and a lot of it we have to speculate, and that's where it's important to make we have to make show everybody there's a line. Sometimes we know these things are there, sometimes we're reading real symbols, sometimes we're speculating on some things. In this case, we speculate, and I certainly don't see where it couldn't be possible. There's so many obvious, interesting connections with Obama and the Antichrist or an Antichrist spirit, and that stuff gets deep. That's some stuff you try to show some people, and they roll their eyes, and you're a tard, and get back on. I'm sorry, but I was getting a lot of background noise from that person on the phone. I'm really sorry, man. Are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. But, yeah, man, so kind of there. Sorry, I'm rambling a little bit, and I got my train of thought went off. There's a lot of noise there. I don't know if you guys could hear that or not, but go ahead.
I don't know. Is it over on my end? I mean, I'm in my buddy's basement. It might be his furnace. If it's too bad, we can cut it, or I can step outside.
No, that's okay. What I was doing is I'm putting the second callers on the line with us.
Oh,
but then you'll hear things going on,
Maybe
shotguns
you can just ask
going.
them to mute themselves. That's what I did. Because
What's
think
that?
You might have dropped me. Maybe you can ask them to mute themselves while they're holding, because that's what I did. I think you might have dropped me the first time too. It might have been loud when I was outside. Anyway.
Yeah. Yep. Well, so yeah, man. So anything else on your mind?
Oh yeah, there's lots on my mind.
Well, go for it, man. We got a little time.
I was listening to a lot of Kent Hovind today. Speaking of like my girlfriend, she's not my wife, yet, but she should be, But we listen to a lot of him today. Are familiar with him? He does a lot on evolution.
Yeah, and well, what do you think about that?
I don't believe in evolution. I don't believe in that theory. I don't subscribe to that theory. I think it runs counter, to the Bible. And it runs counter, according to him, too, in his presentations in a diametrically opposed way, like everything is the exact opposite, of the story of creation.
Well, did you ever...
The order...
Yeah, right. Go ahead, sorry.
I was just going to say, in terms of the order, the entire narrative, if you will, is just the exact opposite. It's just it in reverse.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, well, it's interesting how they're using it just now, even over the last few years. And there's always the so-called war on Christmas. And I don't even keep up with really any of the holiday stuff. I mean, I do stuff with family, of course, but I just don't keep up with all that. But I know those things are still out there. The war on Christmas. That's the big thing. But even out.
about winning the war on Christmas, right? You saw him at, maybe it was at a press dinner or something, where he says, this year we're going to win the war on Christmas, and then he winks.
Well, yeah, of course. He's always putting that stuff out there. It's just like, it's absolutely insane. And when you really look at him, it's just right there. I mean, what do you think about that? What do you think about Obama? Because there's a line of thought out there that, he's only got, about a year left, right? Is it a year or about a year?
Well, so they say. I do foreclosure stuff up here, and I do evictions from time to time, unfortunately, and I speak with deputies, and other people, and I've had, some tell me that they believe that the elections will be suspended, and they'll declare martial law. That's what they think.
Yeah.
He told me flat out, it's like, the FEMA camps are real, and I'm like, yes, and he told me that they train specifically for sovereign citizens, that they're the biggest threat and all this and that. I had a long talk with him for hours, actually, about that stuff.
Yeah, man, there's some crazy stuff. I mean, I did a lot of videos
about being in Chicago. A lot of people think that Chicago will actually be the city that's hit with the nuke. With the $10 bill, with like what Johnson Alexis put out about that, changing the color to orange, seeing that represented on that bill. People in my family, we've all been born and raised, out here, and they all have told me like similar things. They have these inclinations, or maybe little premonitions, if you will, about something like that in Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Well, yeah. No, that's in the air. I did a lot of the older Obama videos I did. I put a lot of that stuff in there, too. I mean, Homeland Security bought up a bunch of targets. This is years ago now, a couple of years ago, and all the targets were, first they were all white people, which, for whatever reason, but it was like a grandmother, it was like a pregnant teenage girl, it was a little boy holding a toy gun or something. It was all these really random, just kind of neighbor next door type pictures, and all white, but still, it's like, really. So you see it all building.
It was the No Hesitation series, like, of targets that they had. That was the name of it. Do you remember that?
Yeah, now I do. Yeah, exactly. See, that's insane.
Yeah, so it makes me wonder, though, too. I mean, things like that are so cheap to do nowadays, too. Yeah, they're just, if they're running the papers and stuff, too, they just put these stories out there. It's like, whether or not they even use them, it's kind of not even the point. They're mind controlling people, or they're at least commandeering it, to some degree, don't you think?
Oh, yeah, sure. And I mean, we're seeing how everything's changing and shifting. I mean, this is where I'm sorry. Hey, I'm sorry, but somebody, the 720, I don't know if you can mute on that side. If you could, please. For some reason on my end, I get really loud feedback from over there. So sorry about that. But if you can do it, thank you. I think they did it. Okay, cool. Okay, man. But yeah, with the targets and all that and Homeland, yeah, I mean, it's in the air. I mean, we see all that stuff building. We see it all coming together, but it's just, it almost sometimes to me feels like it's taken longer than I expected for things to happen. Not that I'm complaining. And
right.
that happens a lot. So that's where I try to balance it out personally with still being here now, still living here now. You still have to try to enjoy your life and be at peace, right? God doesn't want you running around scared and freaking out.
Well, I don't know sometimes. So that everything's done, for the glory of God, right? So, yeah, we're here, whatever this is, or everything's done for God's glory, right? Like,
well, sure.
Is that biblical?
Well, yeah, I'm sorry. Now,
for God's glory.
Yeah, and earlier I had kind of jumped, exactly, but earlier I'd kind of jumped subjects. But that's the other thing, is there's a line of thought out there that Obama will suffer some kind of a head wound before he gets out of office, and then, resurrect 3 days later, and then that'll be the...
Well, he's already got the scar for it, I mean, who knows? But I get concerned about Chicago because, of course, this is where they kind of, his second city, I suppose, and it's the 88th, parallel or meridian, right? Like, if we're to Enter the Stars, talk about that, too. So the way that lines up,
yeah, man,
seems target on it. You know what I mean?
I do. And well, hey, anything else on your mind you want to hit on? I just got another caller over here on the line too, and I don't want to just rush you off. I want to try to give everyone a little time to chat.
No, I don't want to take too much time. I appreciate you talking. Like, this is kind of a little support network, kind of training camp too. So it was good
for sure, man.
Good to talk to you. I listen to it all the time, and thanks again, man.
All right, thanks. Take it easy. Okay, I got a 720 on the line. Are you still there?
Yeah, hi. This is Stephanie.
Oh, hi, Stephanie.
Hi. Sorry about that. I was making some noise. I didn't realize you guys could hear me.
Oh, no, that's okay. I need to probably put that out there more in the beginning. I just kind of run it pretty loose over here, but it seems to work.
Yeah.
How was
Yeah,
your
it
New
was
Year's?
great. Oh, great. Wonderful so far. Thank you. Yeah, I love your show, and I just love how kind you are to everyone and just so gracious. So I've only recently discovered you, but I really enjoy your show.
Oh, thanks. I really appreciate that. Well, that's cool. And I hope that you now, do you watch any of the videos also, or is it mainly the radio show you've
Yes.
been listening?
Well, actually, when I said show, I kind of meant your videos, because I usually watch you on YouTube.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, well, good.
Yeah, or listen to you mostly. Yeah.
Is this all kind of stuff that you've always kind of been interested in looking into, or?
Well, I started getting interested in this type of thing back with Sandy Hook is what woke me up, was the whole Sandy Hook false flag.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, so I didn't figure it out myself. I just saw online on YouTube. I just saw some videos about Sandy Hook being not real, and I was like, what? So I just started watching some of the videos, and I was just stunned. I couldn't. I mean, for days I walked around in complete shock. I couldn't even believe
Wow.
it, and. Yeah, I was in a state of shock for days. It was so crazy, and I just couldn't believe that our government would do something that insane, And then I started looking into the other, like 9/11, and then I just learned that the whole world is run by Satanists and that kind of thing, and so it's completely turned my life all around. So yeah.
Wow. Well, you're at the right place.
Yes, it's awesome. I have a job where I can listen all day long. I listen to YouTube videos, and because my job is pretty routine, so all day I'm learning all this stuff, all this information. And I'm a Christian, and for about 18 years, and I've always just been just a truth seeker, but more in a spiritual sense. So I really wanted to find out the truth about God, and what religion was true, if any of them, and and I
Good.
have found Christ. Yeah. So I encourage anyone out there to just seek the truth, and if you really, really want to know the truth, you'll find Christ.
Yeah.
You have to want to know the truth with your whole heart.
I agree. That's the end game. That's where it all leads. And I'm really glad you have such an open mind that you understand not just my work, but even, like Round Saturn's Eye and all the other folks out here. We're all kind of doing our own thing, but we're all kind of showing bits and pieces of the truth as it all kind of comes out. I think that's kind of what we're all trying to do.
Right.
But that's so hard to get across to people who are still locked into that hardcore religious paradigm, and then very dogmatic and... so...
Oh, exactly, yeah.
That's the battle a lot of the time.
Oh, it's a huge battle. I've actually, God, pretty much told me to leave the churches. He just, I got the message from him that it was like, come out of her and be separate. And
yep, I always
come
felt
away
that.
With me. Yeah, and I've never learned more. Just the Holy Spirit and me. God is just teaching me so much. It's overwhelming. I mean, it's a good thing my job is fairly routine, because I'm overwhelmed all the time with the things I'm learning that God is showing me. And
well, that's good.
Yeah, it's awesome. I know a couple of people have mentioned. I've heard you mention a couple of times that about the rapture, that you didn't know that much. You know what I mean? That's not one of your focus areas.
Yeah. Do you know a little bit? Do you have some insight there?
I do, because that's something I've really focused on a lot, as far as listening to a lot of information online and in the Bible, and just studying Scripture, and I really, in that case, I also just really was seeking the truth, because I kind of thought, my predisposition was to think it was a post-tribulation rapture. That just made more sense to me. But when I really searched for the truth, and I was just praying to God to show me, and now I really believe it's before the tribulation. And And there's so many people, having prophecies and dreams and visions about the rapture.
And that's the one where, there's a couple guys, I mentioned them before, and I really like their work. I know they're controversial as well, but it's Jonathan Kleck, of course, and then the Grox.
Yeah.
And both those guys are they're on board with like it's any time now, and I hope they're right. That's the thing is that's the only reason. It's not that I don't believe but nothing about that's not my gifting. I try to look into it and I see nothing. I know what I've got to do, but with those guys, I hope they're right because I hope it goes down like that. The other hand, I don't like to see anyone have to go through bad stuff, but then who knows? And that's God's thoughts, and I don't know, why it has to go down the way it has to go down, but it's going to go down, and that's, I can't deny that because that's the stuff I see as well. So yeah, I hope we get to go, but go ahead.
Well, there's so many, all the people having visions and dreams, and there's one guy on YouTube, Bob Barber, and people just email him with all their visions and dreams about the rapture and about the tribulation, and the huge majority of people see it as a pre-tribulation rapture. Or, we'll be here for part of, some difficulties for part of it, and then, but before the main part of it, before the Great Tribulation starts, the rapture.
So,
and there's going to be a tsunami beforehand and earthquakes, and it's, and a lot of Christians are going to be left behind, is what people are seeing in these visions and dreams, because, mainstream Christianity is so far removed from the truth, sometimes.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess even with that, too, I have a hope for the best, to where I can go, but prepare for the worst, and that's not, again, that's not a slide on my faith. I think if it's going to go down, I feel like I get to go, but I just want to be reasonable about it just in case because, time and time again throughout history, we've seen these things happen, and people get bummed out when it doesn't happen and then kill themselves or go crazy or lose faith, so...
Yes, that's true. And then there's some false prophets out there saying, information that's not true and setting dates that it's going to happen this time, and it doesn't. And then, exactly. So you got to be super careful and just use a lot of discretion. Well,
Stephanie, I'm actually kind of almost at the top of the hour, but I'd still like to chat with you. If you want to hang online, I'm going to run some commercials, and you and I will be muted. But I need to go ahead and do some commercials here, and I'll be back. Are you cool with holding on for a little bit?
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
Okay, cool. I'll come back online here with you. You'll hear me talking to you here in about 2 minutes or so, 3 minutes. Okay.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. Thanks. And for the audience out there, folks, we're gonna jump off here for just a little bit. Run a few commercials here, and then we're going to be right back, okay? So hang tight with us, and we'll be right back with you.
systems are functional. And I'm going to pass the reins to Mr. Jackal, the new king of radio.
This is the Oz Man, one of the voices in the Jackal's head.
Are we alone in the universe?
Now, I have a voice from the Jackal's head. Let us creature.
Is there life after death?
I'm Nick Pope, and now I'm a voice inside the Jackal's head.
Is the government keeping secrets from us?
This is Stephen Bassett, and I am now a voice inside the Jackal's head.
Will the Cubs ever win the World Series?
I am now a voice inside the Jackal's head. And that was Lloyd Pye.
And who the hell are these voices inside my head? Listen live on the Jackal's head.
you can share the topics that drive the discussions of your favorite talk shows with TalkStream Live's topic-driven talk radio. List and promote real-time talk radio topics, or post the topics that you want to hear. Hot topics are tweeted and retweeted and include simple click-to-listen audio links. The future of talk radio is topic-driven talk radio. Available now at TalkStreamLive.com.
Alright, you guys, and we're back from the break, and let me see if my friend Stephanie's still on the line with me. Stephanie, you still there?
I'm here.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, thanks for hanging out. So, guys, we're back. This is KJ once again with Rigged Reality Radio. Took a short break there, and it's been open lines. This is New Year's Day 2015. Had a few nice callers so far, and we're just kind of taking a little bit more easy this week. Last week was cool. Had open lines as well, but at times I was putting 3 people on at a time, and it got a little bit wild. So tonight's kind of a different pace, which is nice. So our friend Stephanie's on the line, stayed with us through the commercial break, and now we're back. And the lines are open, by the way, folks. I have 1 hour left. If anyone wants to call in, talk to us about New Year's, what do you see ahead? Any ideas there, or really any other subject under the sun, so to speak? Please call in at 786-245-8137, I believe it is. 8127. So Stephanie, anyway, so let's keep rolling. So how's things? What's on your mind? Anything else?
Oh, okay. Well, I just encourage people to, and I hope I don't sound obsessed with the whole rapture thing, but there's the parable of the virgins, the wise virgins, the wise and the foolish.
Yep.
And 5 went into the wedding banquet, and 5 were left behind.
Right.
So I just encourage people just to really pray to be, and then Jesus says, pray to be counted worthy to escape all these things.
Now, what would you say to? Now, also, but how do you feel about repentance, though? Where does that play into?
Oh yeah,
all this?
Absolutely. Repentance is key, is crucial. And I believe, from what I'm learning in Scripture and in all these prophecies and visions and dreams people are having, is that, Jesus is coming for a pure bride. Like he's coming for a virgin, not a literal virgin, but, repentance is huge. Yeah, I'm repenting constantly, hourly, daily, that's huge.
Yeah,
and that's
absolutely.
what the mainstream churches are not teaching. Churches are just not teaching repentance and, baptism, and they're not teaching about hell and sin, and they're not teaching any of that, and it's horrible, and it's the lukewarm Laodicean church, and Jesus is going to spit him out of his mouth. It's really scary.
But yeah, a lot of those big modern churches, that's why, they're preaching that, not so much just the prosperity doctrine and stuff, but just making you feel good, so they got Joel Osteen, of course. I read some of his stuff years ago when I was in the military, and it did at the time, it makes you feel all happy and nice inside, but that's just, like, that's one dimension of the whole thing with faith, it's just one dimension. He focuses on just that one element, of just, well, God wants you to be happy, so just think about happy thoughts all the time and just be happy,
Yes, and the pastors, there's going to be a huge judgment on the church coming, and God, he's not happy with what's going on with all this watered down, lukewarm, only teaching the happy things in the Bible. They're leaving out like 2/3 of it.
And then there's the other side of it. Like, here's a good example too. Actually, I just saw this earlier today. So earlier today, I had the TV on in the living room, and you walk it around, and I always kind of take a look to see what's on there. But Dr. Phil was on, of all things, and I just stood there for a little bit and watched some of it. But he had a lady on there that was a complete and total monster. She was it was like a mother and then her son and her son's wife, and how they all didn't get along. But the mother was the stereotypical narcissist, like really, like every aspect of that was met. She was totally there. And it was how she was hiding behind religion. She kept bringing up the religion, and she'd be like, just always throwing that out there. And Dr. Phil, again, I don't watch the guy much. I don't know much about him, but at least he held her to the fire really on that. He took her to task. He called her out on how she kept hiding behind religion. And so we see that, that's a spirit. It's not just that lady. That's whole spirit is in a lot of these churches, because I see it coming at me a lot too, just with my stuff, and then what happens is it bums me out because it gets me off task, and I have to sit here and start explaining to people, my faith, and I have to, I feel judged, so I need to go ahead and explain, yes, I believe in Jesus, yes, I believe in God, and then I was even thinking, should I start making disclaimers before every one of my videos, just saying kind of warning, yes, I believe in Jesus, yes, I believe in God, yes, I follow Jesus, yes, I was water baptized. I may not cover any of that in this video, but it doesn't mean that I don't believe. I mean, that's how you feel, right? That's how I feel. So,
Yes.
And then I'm very rebellious against rules and men's laws and just groups and just things in general of the world, right? So then I have to go the complete opposite direction. They're like, okay, fine. You want to play games? I got more games than Parker Brothers. So, and it sucks because it gets you engaged in almost a battle against people that are supposed to be on your side. So what I've done is, as I said earlier, I just have been going with the flow with it now, and I just get around it. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to argue with people. I don't want to get stuck on talk with religion, and because I can't quote a whole bunch of Bible scripture. I'm not good with that. It's just not what I'm good with, So.
Oh yeah, and these people, they call themselves Christians, and they're on YouTube, and they're arguing and saying horrible things to people, and I'm sorry, that's not Christianity. That's not Christ-like, and it's appalling. What the things I see done in the name of Christ, in this world. It's sad. It's horrible.
Yeah, but they feel okay with it because, they feel okay with it though. They can be judged, because they are clean. And they are cleaner than we are. So they can stand in judgment of us, and it's unbelievable. So, like I said, I've got to be cool with myself too about not thinking too much on stuff like that. Because when I do, it makes me not want to do videos. It makes me. It doesn't. I'm not pouting, and it doesn't make me mad. It just makes me apathetic. It's just like, man, is this? Why do I have to really keep going down this path? Because then, like I said, it just gets me off my game. It makes me not as excited when I wake up to try to find things and do videos.
Yes, and I'm always trying to. I feel like I'm the cheerleader because I go on all my favorite channels and I try to leave encouraging comments because I know you guys get so much opposition and people can be so awful.
Oh yeah, well that's nice.
People are just evil sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's out there for sure. But how about for you? What are you looking at for 2015? How do you feel about the year ahead?
Wow, I think this is going to be a crazy year because do you know about it's the year of the Shemitah and
does that have to do with the blood moons?
Yeah, and the blood moons, and there's going to be the final blood moon in the fall, which is going to be a super moon, blood moon, and that's the final one. And that's also, there's supposed to be a huge stock market crash at that time because it's the Shemitah, and it's the book, The Harbinger.
Oh yeah, okay, keep going. I really don't know much about this.
Yeah, Rabbi Khan, is that his name, Khan? Rabbi, actually I forget his name. But it's a very famous book, The Harbinger. I think it was like a bestseller. And it talks about how, in 2001 was the stock market crash in the fall at, 9/11. And then exactly 7 years later, the year of the Shemitah is every 7 years, according to the Jewish calendar. And so then exactly down to the very minute, 7 years later in 2008, it crashed again in the year of the Shemitah, which is all debts are wiped out type of thing, but it's a curse if you're not, if it's not a godly nation, it's a curse instead of a blessing. And
Wow.
so this is again going to be 7 years again, this fall, exactly on the blood moon, which is a supermoon, blood moon, and it's the last one of the tetrad. And so it's going to be major, I believe it's going to be major economic collapse.
Wow, how did I not...
And,
keep going. You got my attention. I haven't heard... I guess
the Harbinger?
I mean, I haven't heard that theory, the whole thing. That's really cool. I've been staying away from YouTube a lot. That's probably why, but that's interesting.
Yeah.
Keep going, though.
It's fascinating. And he has a new book now. It's called The Shemitah, The Mystery of the Shemitah, I think it is. But it's fascinating. So, yeah, it's going to be bad. Because last time it was down to the minute, 7 years later.
What month is this again? What month is...
What's that, sorry?
I'm sorry, what month is it supposed to be in?
Oh, September. I forget the exact day, but it's the end of the Shemitah year. And
okay.
And that's when this Rabbi Kahn, I think his name is Jonathan Kahn, I think his name is. He predicts that, according to scripture, and he believes that it's going to. Oh, and it's also the beginning. It's also going to be the beginning of the year of Jubilee, which is a 50-year cycle in the Jewish calendar. So it's going to be huge, huge, huge. This year is going to be crazy amazing. I don't know. It's going to be exciting. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's September 2015. Okay, fine. Then I'm leaving for South America in August, probably.
I sold all my stock. I have, it's going to be bad. And then also, I totally personally believe, and a lot of people with the dreams and visions are seeing that Obama is the Antichrist.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
To me, it's almost, It's almost
for sure.
so obvious that it almost seems like it's a trick because it's almost that obvious,
Well, yeah. Well, you saw that thing where not long ago they had the horn sticking out of his head and another one of those State of the Union addresses or whatever. But yeah, and it's just stuff like that. You're right. And like in any other situation, this stuff would be laughable, but it's just not because we know there's a history there. We know there's things connected to this that would make it make sense. If I just saw that and had no idea about any of the rest of this stuff and someone said, look, there's horns on his head, I'd be like, shut up. But so I can understand people not getting it. But so it's all around him for sure. Plenty of signs with Obama.
Oh, yeah, and the picture he tweeted with him, he's sitting on that iron throne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I put that in my recent video, too.
Oh, yeah, he's pure evil. And then I believe the false prophet is Pope Francis.
Yep, and, that's a lot of people
they're working together, they're in cahoots, and they're going to form that one world religion, and
let me ask you that. Well, yeah, I've done some videos on Chrislam as well. That's a big part of it too. They're moving towards that.
Oh,
and then
huge.
And we're seeing that they really are using Islam is going to be a big part of this too, unfortunately. But we're seeing it, and that again, that isn't a slam to all of our friends out there who who may believe that way. But certainly they're using that religion for what's coming. There's no doubt.
Oh, big time. Because it's totally, it's complete tyranny. It's a complete dictatorship with Sharia law. They control every aspect of your life. So it's perfect. It goes hand in hand with, totalitarianism and communism and all that.
Yeah, and I want to say thanks, Fractal Hedgehog. I was actually going to ask a question about that. Stephanie, do you know anything about this? But what about, is there anybody out there making connections to this collapse and then how close it would be to the rapture? Anybody doing anything like that yet? Are you there?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. You're talking to, for a minute I thought you were talking to someone else.
No, that's okay.
So, okay, yeah, well, you know what, the timing of the rapture, from what I'm hearing with the visions and dreams, and they're very consistent, and it's like each vision and dream gives sort of a different piece of the puzzle, but they're very consistent, too. So it's like, putting together all these puzzle pieces. But there's the tsunami that's coming to the East Coast, and then these earthquakes on the East Coast, on the West Coast, and all these tsunami and the earthquakes, and possibly the economic collapse will happen before the rapture.
Well, here
definitely the tsunami. What's that?
Well, here, since it's really just you and I, and if you're cool, don't let me keep you too long. I'm radio host here asking my guest if they want to hang out for a while. But no one else is on the line, so if you're down, we'll talk for a little bit.
Oh, no, I'd love to. I don't get to talk about this at all.
Well, let me throw this out then. So we'll just, since it's the new year, first day of 2015, then let's throw some of these things out. I mean, speaking of the Groxt and of Jonathan Kleck, so there's some key areas we need to be watching. And even our friend Zachary Hubbard has done some work on the dam, the Hoover Dam. And, of course, Jonathan's done a lot of work on that as well. So the Hoover Dam's an area we're watching. We know the Groxt has us watching the, what is that thing out there in San Diego, the nuclear plant that's shut down?
I don't know.
Do you know what I'm talking about? It's got the two domes. And anyway, so you might not be familiar with that. Okay, well, there's an old nuclear plant in San Diego. I think they just shut the power down within the last year or so. But the Groxt is always seeing some interesting connections to that, as far as it being hit and then possibly triggering this great earthquake or whatever out there. And that'll be a part of all the things that are going to happen, like kind of on the same day. Are you familiar?
That makes sense.
Yeah, like a triggering event, I guess. That'll be part of it. So.
And also when they sign a peace agreement between Israel and Palestine, they're going to be signing a 7-year peace agreement according to, the Bible prophecy. Then there's going to be, so they're going to divide the land of Israel for Palestine and make it a state. And then that will really kick God off, and he'll divide our land. And then people are seeing, like, the San Andreas Fault, the one that goes up the middle of the country.
Yep.
Like the country being kind of just torn into and just breaking in half.
Well, yeah, there's
when that happens.
Yeah, no, you're right. The San Andreas is connected to that nuclear power plant in San Diego. That's a big part of that for sure. And then, of course, there's all the other things happening in America. There's that fault line. I can't remember the name. I know a lot of people have covered this. I'm looking at my chat room if you guys know the name, but it's some kind of a... You've heard about this, right? There's a swamp out there, and it keeps going down. I don't know if you've heard any of this kind of stuff. You know what I'm talking about, or I'm just probably rambling.
Is that the fault line that goes up the middle?
Yeah, that's that one. I think it's connected to the Mississippi or something.
That's the one I meant to say. I think I said the San Andreas. That's the West Coast one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, I meant to say the one that goes up the middle, which I can't remember the name of it either. But when the peace agreement signed about Israel and Palestine, that's when that earthquake is supposed to go off and divide our land.
And have you ever heard of Edgar Cayce?
I've heard that name, but who's that?
Well, I'll go ahead and tell you who he is, and once again, I will probably catch flack for bringing him up, because I don't know how reliable the guy was. They called him the Sleeping Prophet, and it was back in the 50s or 60s, I think, 50s or 60s when he was really kind of doing his thing, but he was like a janitor, like a real simple guy or whatever, but when he would go to sleep, he would start talking in his sleep about future catastrophes. He'd talk about the history of Atlantis, all this really wild stuff. Does that ring a bell?
No, I'm not familiar with this.
Yeah, his name's Edgar Cayce. It's C-A-Y-C-E. There it is. Thanks, Betrayed. The New Madrid Fault. That's what we were looking for. But his name is...
The one that,
Yep, that's it.
Okay.
But
and
yeah, Yep, so it's Edgar Cayce, C-A-Y-C-E, and they called him the Sleeping Prophet. But he had seen a map in his dreams state or whatever, and it looked like that. It was a new America, and it was all broken up, and it was exactly like that. You see, the New Madrid Fault was all busted up, and the Mississippi was all busted up. And, of course, the San Andreas had gone off, so Texas or California was kind of an island and all that. So he saw that stuff as well, and let me see, someone's writing something. He predicted Atlantis would be discovered. No such luck. Well, yeah, that's true, too. So anyway, I'm just throwing that out there as a connection, because other people have been seeing this kind of new map of America.
Yes.
There's even something...
And the supervolcano in Yosemite is also, people are seeing that going off in dreams and visions. Yeah, and that's going to be bad. And then there's going to be all that ash from the volcano, and that's going to cause like a cold climate change because that's going to cause a drop in temperature because of all the ash.
Yep. Yeah. None of it's going to look very pretty. Hopefully, we won't have to deal with it.
Right. And from what people are seeing, and God is like showing people, it seems to be that after there's going to be this huge tsunami on the East Coast, earthquakes on the West Coast, and then maybe about 2 weeks or so after that, or maybe 2 to 6 weeks, is going to be the rapture, is how people are kind of, that's the puzzle pieces that I'm putting together. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's what I'm putting together from all these puzzle pieces that I'm hearing about.
Yeah, see, and like I said, that's one of those, unfortunately, I just never have anything on, but I just don't even think about it, because I wonder, like I said, I don't know, am I just too cynical? I just sometimes think, what if we do wind up being here for another 25 years, for whatever reason, for however, what if? I don't see it happening, but just what if? There's still that side of me, and I don't see that it's bad that I would think that. It's not saying I don't believe in, I'm just saying I'm trying to be reasonable about it, because people have been kind of fooled before, and also,
I know.
But it's also kind of an element of, I have to keep an eye on for myself, but we all kind of fall into that. A lot of us do, at least those of us that believe in God or whatever, but is being, is looking forward to all this doom and destruction. Isn't it interesting? We're kind of stuck in that kind of thing to where we're all really, in a way, it's like we're kind of, looking forward to the doom and all the bad stuff, not because we want to see destruction and bad things, but because we just want to go back to our heavenly home.
Right, and you know what, though, especially in America, these bad things that are coming it's going to take this kind of hardship for people to wake up and find Christ. I think people in America have generally had it too easy, and I know my family for sure. I'm just praying that this will really help wake them up. Some hardship and some, just difficulty, and life won't be a breeze anymore, and it's not going to be this Disney World kind of place anymore.
Exactly.
And I think and there's going to be a huge harvest. It's going to be the biggest harvest of souls to Christ in the history of the world, is what I'm piecing together from all of this, and from Scripture. And even before the rapture, there's going to be a harvest right before the rapture, apparently, that a lot of people are going to come to Christ right before the rapture and then go up in the rapture. And then even during the tribulation, there'll be millions and millions of people coming to Christ. Because persecution is what really triggers people's faith for some reason. It's not during ease and, Pleasantville land that people come to Christ, but it's more during hardship.
Yeah, it's really not that hard to imagine if we just wanted to look at it like Obama. I mean, it's not hard to imagine if this be the case, him being some kind of a dictator that would be, leading Christians to a slaughter or something like that. I mean, just using Obama as an example, but right? I mean, you can feel it that we're kind of in that season.
Oh, totally. I believe he's our last president. I do. And I believe there won't be any. I believe that they'll declare martial law. And I mean, after these tragedies, the tsunami and all these, the economic crash and these things start happening, they're going to have martial law, and there'll be civil unrest. And I believe that the elections will be indefinitely delayed, and then he'll just stay. He'll just stay in power.
Yeah,
that's my prediction.
No, that's a good one. I mean, one thing I'm always trying to piece together, plus I just enjoy thinking about it, is if and how are the quote aliens going to fall into all this? Will there be the big alien deception, and how's that going to come into play? So that's for sure going to be a part of the New World Order religion or whatever. That's definitely going to play an angle. For all we know, what if Obama or whoever it is just like rips their face apart, and it's like inside there this thing, and like, actually I'm an alien, I've been with you all along, and who knows? I mean, who knows, man? It's
aliens, I believe, and a lot of people are seeing the aliens, visions and dreams about the aliens too, and
which of course,
you know,
yeah, you don't believe in the aliens, do you? You don't believe in little gray aliens or anything, right?
I believe they're demons.
Right, me too.
They're
Fair enough. Okay.
To be aliens, but they're demons, and that they're going to start coming. They're going to start showing their faces and coming here, and but they're going to convince people that they are here, you know, to save the world, you know, and that that they are the ones that created us, and there's going to be, you know, some alien messiah type of person that, you know, people will be fooled. And I believe that's probably the great delusion, the powerful delusion.
Yeah, for sure.
Thessalonians, I think it is. Yeah, Second Thessalonians talks about the powerful delusion that God will send to those who don't love the truth. So people just need to be in their Bibles, like, I mean, so deep, because only the ones that know their Bibles are going to know, are not going to be fooled. What's that?
Yeah, and just think about, just imagine the kind of things that people are going to be seeing in that time, and that's why it's going to be important, you know, to be connected.
Yeah.
And to understand who Jesus really is, and to know God and everything, because they are going to be seeing like miracles and wonders. And the little ones pop up around all the time right now. Little ones, a lot of those I cover on my channel. You know, I'll find little things myself, and there's other people out there finding things. But a crazy increase. Can you imagine seeing these gray alien things or whatever on TV, or, you know, maybe they'll be all light beings or something like that. But whatever it's going to be, and, you know, we're here to help you, you know, whatever it is, you know, be a part of this, you know, accept this. Maybe it won't be an RFID, but it'll be part of that transhumanism technology. You know, do this and be a part of the hive mind. And, you know, we got to get rid of those Christians because they're not ready to be on our level, you know, so.
Exactly. And then it's probably when the rapture happens and a bunch of Christians disappear, they're going to say, well, the aliens took them because to re-educate them, and, you know, they weren't ready to evolve. That kind of thing, probably, because they'll make up some story.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and they'll also, and they'll have there's the Project Bluebeam. Have you heard of Project Bluebeam?
Absolutely. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of interesting things happening with Project Bluebeam as well.
Yes.
That could be part of
like a fake messiah in the sky. They'll project it onto the sky. And,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So it's going to be, I mean, there's so much deceit right now, so many lies and deception, and it's going to be so much even worse. It's going to be amazing. I can't believe I'm living during this time. It just blows my mind.
Well, but you, I guess you have people, though, that you're close to that are awake, like you said. I think you mentioned that earlier, right?
No, I wish. I have one friend, but she, you know, she's really, really busy, and I never get to see her. No, I don't have anybody. That's why I'm talking your ear off. I'm like dying to talk.
No, it's actually nice. It's nice because even if you weren't on. Yeah, if you weren't on the line, I'd probably just go through some news stories and try to talk about possible things coming in 2015. And I'm working on a video right now, a top 10 thing for 2014. I'll be putting up in a few days, so I'd talk about some of that stuff and just whatever. And people can call in anytime if they have any predictions for the future or something like that. But see, the whole Shemitah thing, is that how you pronounce that?
Yeah, the Shemitah. Yep. You're the Shemitah.
Yeah, so that's really interesting too. I mean, wow, it's going to be an interesting year. I mean, 2014 was really interesting, so 2015 is just buckle up, you know?
Oh, for sure, buckle up. Yeah, and then in the spring is the third blood moon on Passover, and then the fourth blood moon is the end of the Shemitah in the fall. And also, I think it's January 3rd is like right in the center of the whole tetrad of blood moons. Is going to be a total solar eclipse. So, and the Bible says that, you know, there's signs in the sun and the moon and the stars, you know, and all the Jewish feasts are for signs, you know. So the fact that these blood moons are all on high holy days, you know, the odds of that happening are astronomical. You know, all 4 blood moons landing on high holy days with a total solar eclipse in the middle. I mean, the odds of that are astronomical. I mean, it's insane.
That is interesting. Hey, it looks like actually I did get a call. Somebody just
Oh,
called.
okay.
Well, go ahead.
No, I'm good. I've been on here forever. I'm so sorry. I'm taking up the whole night.
Nesta, hey, it's been really nice talking to you, and thanks for calling. Really nice meeting you and talking to you, and it's been fantastic. So we'll talk to you again. We'll call again some other time, okay?
Okay, thanks, KJ. Bye-bye.
Okay, see you later. All right, so I have somebody on the line. It's a 931 number. Is there any kind of a name you'd like us to call you?
Is this KJ?
Yeah, hi, this is KJ.
Hey, KJ, what's up? This is, my name's Noah. I'm from Cookville, Tennessee.
Oh, cool. Hey, Noah, how you doing, man?
Doing good, bud. Yeah, I sent you a message the other day. I've just recently kind of been listening to your radio show, and I heard you talking kind of like about how Alex Jones woke you up, and he kind of woke me up too. I've been awake for a few years now, and I've heard you discuss about how he, you're kind of on the fence about him.
Yeah, just on the fence. Go ahead.
Well, whether he's like real or not, and I've seen some things, on YouTube too, about how he's kind of got the crazy antics on TV and kind of giving the truthers a bad name and whatnot.
Right. See, that's the stuff right there, man. It's not it's not his information. His information's top notch. So as far as I remember, I liked the stuff he put out. I liked his info, but man, it was the delivery. Right?
Right. Yeah, he does get a little wild, and like I used to listen to him, kind of daily, but kind of like you kind of get just kind of a negative energy from him, and I don't know, you just get burnt out on him, I guess,
Yeah, you do. You do a little bit because I guess it depends on how far along you want to go with this stuff, right? Like some of us just can't help but want to know more, so we keep going, and you're probably one of those people. And as we do that, I think we evolve in the way we relate to the information we're learning and how deep it all goes. And, there's different levels we go through. And I'm sure you went through a really hard point when you first woke up in the beginning. I went through the 5 stages of grief for about a week there. I mean, no kidding. I was really kind of like zoned out. And that was after that Bohemian Grove stuff. That stuff really punched me in the brain,
Right, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, changed everything for me. Glad it did. And you know what? I'm glad he was a little bit like, because I guess I kind of needed that too. And that's why I don't like to down talk Alex Jones either, because I think it's a lot more complicated sometimes. I think in a big worldly spiritual kind of way, there's all these different teachers, and not all of them have great fruit, but some of them still have good wisdom to bear. They have to, because that's how they deceive. They give you some good stuff and then some deception. So we have to use our discernment, our Holy Spirit. We have to navigate these things. That's why I can't just say, oh, it's on Fox News, forget that, or oh, it's on MSNBC, forget those guys. I'll still watch a little bit of everything, even TMZ and stuff like that sometimes, and I'm searching for the little bits of truth nuggets I can find inside of all the deception.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point, man. Another thing I wanted to ask you about, or I guess kind of a comment on, was I heard you on a radio show. I know it was probably one you uploaded a couple of months ago, but you were talking about, how people kind of ask you about the Bible and how you can believe in it because it was written by man. And,
yeah.
Like if you ask evolutionists, what they believe in text written by man, and their text has to get updated every few years. The Word of God is, it's inspired, written of God, and it doesn't have to be updated every few years. You know what I mean? And it rings true even today.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where it gets iffy for me, because I do stand by the Bible, of course, but I look at it in a different way, because I'll go through the Gospels and things like this. I'll go through Psalms and Proverbs as well, and I dig in there for just guidance and spiritual, just I need to feed on some of this stuff sometimes, so, But those are kind of the areas I go, and it just speaks to me spiritually, So that's why I'm not the greatest. I don't know my Bible back and forth, but I'm not impressed by that. I mean, and I should know that. I know I should, and study to be approved and whatnot. So I know I should, and I'm working on it. Okay, it's taking a while, but I'm working on it. But it still doesn't impress me because there's so many people out there that can quote the Bible back and forth, and these are very ungodly people. And so that's another one where does the truth really lie? I know I should know it, and I will. I go bits and pieces. I'm very slow about it, but it's on my heart, so I'm working on it, right? But at the same time, I'm not going to just trust somebody that can throw scriptures at me. I get people throw scriptures at me all the time, and to me they're just words. And they go in one ear, and then they tumble right out the other seconds later, and nothing sticks. They're just words, It means nothing because I can feel the Spirit and see the Spirit in the person, so to speak, I guess you can say. And, I just see nothing but just nothing, just gray, and just people just spouting words at me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it really does, man. Like, just because someone knows the Bible, the Bible also says you'll know them by their fruits, so just because they know Scripture here and there, how is it working in their life, that's how you can really judge, not to be judgy because I by no means have lived a perfect life whatsoever.
Same here,
so,
yeah, sure.
So, just kind of, be a judge of character, just because they know the Bible doesn't mean that their character's not flawed,
Absolutely, man, and try to, the tough part for me sometimes is to let it go and still love people. I know that may sound goofy to people out there, but that's real, that's the way to do it, because I don't want to start engaging in battles with people over doctrine and things and dogma and this and that. I just think that's all of the enemy brings all that stuff on. I don't want that.
Right. Absolutely.
Right? So how you feeling about how you feeling about 2015? You got any thoughts on the year ahead? What do you got any ideas on what might we see prophetically, let's say, or even related to the New World Order, or really how about the Kardashians? What do you see happening with them?
Well, I don't know too much about the Kardashians, but I don't know. Just kind of wondering what's going to go on over there in Russia. I know with all the sanctions that's been put on them, they're kind of starting to buck the system or whatnot.
Man, it's definitely they're stoking the fires, man. You can see it all kind of getting ready. It feels like, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. You feel it. You feel it coming to a head. You just got to keep on trucking and try not to let it bother you too much,
That's the best attitude.
We all got jobs and lives to live, and it's in God's hand, and just not have the Alex Jones mentality of, oh God, it all blow up today, and if it does, you just got to trust God and trust that He'll show you what to do next.
Yeah, I love that, man. That's perfect. That's the best attitude ever. I'm the same way. Just, don't sweat it. Don't let the enemy steal your peace, because that's a big part of it too. So you have to just be at peace. Don't fret. Trust God, and there you go. It's all easy from there.
Yeah. Hey,
so,
sorry to kind of like keep throwing crazy talks out at you, but
no, you're not, man. It's good. Go ahead.
Some things I've heard you talking about some of the recent radio shows, like you were talking about guys not being very interested in girls. You had a name for it. I couldn't remember what the name was. You called it.
I got you, man. I'm glad you brought that up because that's going to be a future show. I'll be doing more interviews this year. I'll still have open lines, but just in between and stuff. But I want to cover topics that I feel like I got to cover, but that's one of them right there. And there's a few terms for it, but the popular one is men going their own way. It's MGTOW, they call it. That's one of them. That's a big movement. Then there was the movement in Japan, and they called them the herbivores. And then outside of that, there's a whole movement worldwide, and it's called the Sexodus. And that's a thing where all kinds of just regular dudes, in their 20s and whatnot, are writing about this and putting it out there and just saying, you know what, we're tired of the hassle. We don't want to deal with it anymore. There's too much drama, and we'd rather just hang out with our friends, play video games, party, have random hookups with different girls here and there, but nothing serious, and then, of course, they have their internet porn to keep them busy as well. So that's kind of where we're headed, right? It's very interesting. It's people truly slipping into the matrix in a lot of ways.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I can the actual the forum that you were reading off of when you had mentioned that stuff, it sounded a lot like what had happened in my life. You know, guy's woman accuses him of A, so, you know, the police are called, and as soon as the police are called, automatically, before the man even has a chance to defend himself, it's off to jail, you know. And I spent 6 months in jail over just a claim from my woman, and I don't mean to be self-righteous or that I didn't do anything wrong, because
Go ahead.
I probably should have been charged with a domestic assault at the time, but they turned it into a felony, and now I'm kind of fighting a uphill battle over that, you know. And I've got a daughter with her, so, you know, she's kind of been my life here recently. And since I got out, I got a job working with an electrician, just kind of trying to rebuild my life, you know.
Man, good for you. I'm sorry to hear you had to go through all that, but are you around your daughter again then?
Oh yeah, I'm with her right now. She's actually napping already. She kind of took a late nap today. But
well, good.
Yeah, I get her every weekend, and you know, like I said, she's my life. But things like that kind of make you hesitant to go back into the love machine or
yeah, man.
Get back into a relationship.
Well, see, this is where we can go a little deep too, because some of the people I want to have on they really know a lot about this. I'm even going to have a female perspective on, so this will be down the road. But they're really into this stuff, and they know a lot about it. But I'm looking at even in a deeper spiritual way, you know, like, is this just another sign of everyone's hearts waxing cold and love truly, you know, becoming scarce, right? And people turning more towards themselves and their own personal pleasures and becoming more narcissistic. And, you know, is this just another example? It certainly seems to be. I mean, it couldn't be a coincidence. All this stuff seems to be lining up at the same time. We're seeing more of this. Right, and this battle of the sexes or whatever. And the thing is, there's so many interesting layers to it, you know? It's like you can't really say anybody's an enemy because everybody's screwed over, the guys and the girls. It's deep. It's deep, man, in a lot of ways, in different ways, right? Like in the way you were saying, we're hosed. I mean, I never got married. I never planned on getting married. I could see being with the same girl for life, but I don't believe in going through the ceremonies and getting the law involved, and that's just the way I am. And it's probably why I'm not married now. But you know, and because I guess that's why I'm interested in that movement as well, because I've always, in my own way, kind of been that guy. You know, so there's a lot of us, though. It's a real thing. It's a whole movement of people, and there's different aspects to it. You know, it's not a He-Man woman haters club either. You know, it's none of that. But it's a movement. Like you said, you see it. You know, the guys, they still want to be with girls, you know, but they're just afraid to get too committed. They're afraid to get too close. And then on the other hand, you have this kind of new sexual revolution in a lot of ways for a lot of young women, or just women in general. You know, it's like, you know, they really are kind of put in a whole new role now in our world, and they have all the sexual freedom they need. I mean, and they're working and they're making money and they're doing really well, and it's like, do they really even need a dude anymore? So you're seeing all these different aspects of it, right? And so in a lot of ways, the women, a lot of them are living the same ways. You know, they're being professional. They have their jobs. They have their friends. They have boyfriends maybe they hang out with here and there, you know, whatever, but nothing serious. And then that's just how people are living. So, and it really mirrors a lot of these kind of books that I remember from the past. There's one, it's Aldous Huxley's, I think it was Brave New World, where it's kind of, that's what the future is. It's just, there's really no marriage or anything anymore. It's just loose sex, you know, whenever you want it, with whoever. Everyone's on a drug called Soma that's like an instant great feeling with no bad side effects ever. And that's just how people live. And in a lot of ways, we're almost there, or kind of there, right?
Right. Yeah, well, absolutely are there, man. I thought that was an interesting topic, and you know, kind of, you know, another thing I think that has to do with it is, you know, just the financial system in of itself. You know, it's hard, even if you've got a decent paying job, which, I mean, I do. I work as doing electrical work, and you know, but think of it's me and my daughter I got to take care of, and so, you know, you add it, me, and I already feel compelled to take care of the woman, you know, and it's almost like I don't know, just hard to get a leg up because of the financial system, you know what I mean?
Well, here's a good one for you, too. Well, not a good one, but it just fits right in with this. So, as I've said in the past, I've been doing this stuff for years, but I went through long periods of not having television. Now I'm in a different place in a house, and I've got a TV, and I really use it for research, quote unquote. But I do get into things I probably don't need to watch sometimes, just because they're weird and funny. But one of them's a show called Cheaters that was on earlier today, so I watched a little bit of that one, and the scenario that played out. I don't know if that stuff's all scripted or real or what with those shows, but the scenario that played out, though, is a very common scenario. I've seen it in Friends and Friends of Friends for years, but it was the whole, and again, guys and girls, I'm not saying either one's cheating more than the rest, but in this case, it was the guy was following his girlfriend. She was cheating on him, and then the whole story came out. It was the whole deal where she was like, but you're never around, and he's like, but I'm working my ass off to pay the bills. So he's working like 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, right, paying everything, and she's at home hooking up with her boyfriends and stuff. And I'm sure it flip-flops. They could be the guy and girl roles reversed as well. But so this is a very common thing, right? So we see that as well. Just people just feeding off each other, man, and just where's the love, right? Where's the empathy? There's just none. I'm not saying that's in every case. My mom and dad are a great example. They are a great marriage. I mean, they really set the bar high. They've been together over 30 years. Genuinely an awesome couple. People that meet them, even just friends, are they have to comment like, "Wow, these people are cool," and I mean that. My parents are super cool. Still madly in love, but. That's just I don't see that in my generation very much. I don't see that very often. It would be wonderful to meet that woman that you can have all that trust with and just roll with. And I know there's a lot of women out there lonely looking for a good guy. It's it's a lot of lonely hearts out there, but it's a battlefield out there. It really is. It's kind of crazy, crazier than it has been, I think. Right? I mean, I just think it's all over the place in a lot of ways.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's a good way of putting it.
So what else is on your mind, man? Anything else? We still got about 10 minutes if you want to hang out and chat a little bit, or if you need to roll out, that's okay too. What are you thinking?
Yeah, let's see. I'm trying to think of what are some other topics that you covered recently in the radio show?
Let me think about this. Well, there's always the fun topic of the rapture. That one always seems to come up a lot. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on the rapture?
Yeah, I do, man. Have you heard of, I'm sure you have, that Pastor Steven Anderson?
That name does sound familiar, but I don't know what he did.
He's the one that got beat up by the Arizona police at a checkpoint. Like, he wouldn't get out. He was putting videos on YouTube about your constitutional rights and stuff, and he even had a couple of documentaries that he loaded up to Alex Jones kind of website, whatever. One of them was called the pre-trib rapture or something, and he's exposing the pre-trib rapture with a post-trib rapture. He actually, it's pretty convincing. He goes through scripture and breaks it down, and he's a pretty good teacher from my view, but he can kind of be kind of Alex Jonesy, if you know what I mean, kind of negative too.
Well, what's his name again? I'll have to look him up. I forgot. Steve what now?
Pastor Steven Anderson.
Pastor Steven Anderson. Okay, cool. And what, is he kind of hardcore?
Yeah, man. Like, apparently he's even on some kind of watch list for Obama because he preached a sermon on, like, why I hate Barack Obama. And,
see, those guys, they scare me right there. I don't know, man. I don't know if you're just paraphrasing, but if he literally did a thing called Why I Hate Obama and made it public, then see, guys like that are calling way too much negative attention towards, you know what I mean? To me, that's another one of those crazy Alex Jones moments or something on Piers Morgan.
Right, but I don't know. If you listen to the sermon and you listen to him break it down in scripture, I mean, he's not saying, he's going to do anything to Obama. He's just basically saying, giving scriptural references for why he hates him and why God doesn't approve of what he does. You know what I mean?
I do, man. I do. And actually, speaking of that, I just got a surprise call in. So I'm going to go ahead and let my friend Ben jump in here. But, man, it's been nice chatting with you. I hate to have to just jump, but we had a good chat there.
Yeah, I appreciate it, KJ, man. You do good work, man. Keep up the good work. God bless.
Hey, thanks, bud. Nice meeting you. Take it easy. Hey, Ben, you going to close out the show with me tonight? Not much.
Yeah,
It's nice to...
I just got off work, so I got the last 15 minutes. So I'm glad I got here in time because I wanted to give you some information. I watched your video about Babylon being Hollywood, and man, it struck me really good. It struck my spirit to where I was like, I never thought about it in the way that you broke it down before like that. Because I always assumed, that Babylon the Great or whatever was kind of New York, the way it describes the city and the merchants and all that kind of stuff. But then the way you showed that thing about Babylon and the gate and all that, I was like, man, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense because it's the city of angels, fallen angels really. And then, but then what made me start thinking is, okay, in Zechariah 5, it talks about that's a famous chapter where people always go about the flying scroll and it being UFOs.
Oh yeah, is that the wheel? Is that the wheels and wills, or I guess that's Ezekiel?
No, that's Ezekiel. Yeah, Zechariah 5, it talks about that Zechariah sees a flying scroll in the sky, and then there's one part where he said that the angel says, "Well, what do you see?" And he kind of describes it, and he takes it, and it's a disc-shaped thing, and that there's women in it, and he throws it out, and he says, "This is." I think he says this is wickedness or something like that, and he dumps it out. But then it says this is the sign that goes over the whole earth, is this thing that goes over the whole earth. But anyway, the last verse, it talks about how in Shinar that there will be a house built and to recognize this woman and these things. And I started thinking about it, and I was like, man, so this is what just clicked into my mind when I was watching your video and then I was reading that chapter. Okay, we know what UFOs really are, right? They're not really aliens.
Right.
Or fallen angels or whatever. So what I was thinking was, if we'll know exactly what Babylon the Great is, if they build some kind of landing place or some kind of altar to these alien messiahs that are supposed to come. Because that's what Zechariah 5 kind of talks about. It's like they'll build in Shinar, and Shinar is Babylon, that they'll build this landing place or this house for them. And I thought about it, and I was like, it perfectly makes sense what KJ was talking about, because it's like the city of angels, everything that goes on there. Like I made in one of my videos, remember I was talking about that. I believe that that's the synagogue of Satan also.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people in Hollywood will say that they're Jewish, but they're not really Jewish. They don't follow the Torah and stuff like that, but they say that they're Jewish. Kind of like in that movie Snatch, where he says in the diamond business, it's good to be Jewish. He's not Jewish, his family's not Jewish, but in the diamond business, it's good to be Jewish. Same thing in Hollywood. They all claim to be Jewish, even though they don't practice the Torah or anything else. Most of them are Kabbalists, So
right.
they claim to be Jews, but they're not Jews, right? They're the synagogue of Satan. And then I started thinking about how all the movie theaters are the synagogues of Satan all over the country. They are like churches are. Those are Satan's places where people go and sit in the dark kind of and watch a vision, and all this kind of stuff.
I actually showed that in a video a while back, but I took pictures from inside of a movie theater, and it was built like a cathedral. It's exactly. You're right. That's totally a good. And even like back to the stuff in Hollywood, another thing to look at too is I love how they do wordplay, because it is a Stargate, and then it's in Hollywood, so it is a star/gate, because they are releasing these goddesses, these stars to us. And then look at what happens when you've maybe fulfilled your contract or stayed long enough or whatever in that system. You were given a star, right, on Hollywood Boulevard.
Right. There you go. And what stars in the Bible are a representation of angels.
Exactly.
And you know what? One thing that's crazy is I talked to you before about I used to do music and stuff, and then I used to listen to all kinds of crazy music. And I saw an interview with Marilyn Manson one time, and this is very interesting what he says. He said, he was talking to a news reporter, and he said, I don't understand why religious people have such a problem with me. He goes, I'm more like Jesus than they are. He goes, I go from place to place spreading my message. I make disciples of all these people that I stand up in front of and play my music and give what I say out. He said, I have my posse that goes everywhere with me. They're like my 12 disciples. He started breaking all this stuff down, and then I thought about it in recent years, and I was like, exactly, because that's what Satan wants. He wants a false Messiah and all of his, so-called Antichrist. I mean, Manson obviously called himself Antichrist Superstar. So it's but anyway, back to the thing that I wanted to, I want to see if maybe you research that some, and I'm going to research it some about that maybe, because they've been pushing aliens and the alien agenda for so long, Hollywood has, and they desensitize everybody to the point to where, well, now everybody would just accept it.
Oh, yeah.
50 years ago, if aliens landed, people would have went crazy like in War of the Worlds and started shooting and doing all that kind of stuff. But now, if aliens came down, everybody would just be like, oh, I knew that was real.
Well, you actually gave me a perfect opportunity to kind of shill for my own channel here, I guess, but I do have a playlist called Alien Demon Deception, and it's got a lot of videos in there, and it covers exactly this subject. One of them is even Paul. The movie Paul is a good example of how they're trying to acclimate people to the gray alien being, cool. Not that they're going to come down and be smoking a joint, but that's the whole idea of the movie, is to acclimate it to something cool and hip and laid back, right? Nothing to be afraid of here, folks.
Yeah, that's completely true. They take it and they twist it into a way that seems like that. What's that movie? The End, like the same way with about the rapture and all of that. They twist it in such a way to where it seems like, I don't know how to explain it, that it's not really. You don't have to follow exactly how the Bible tells you it's going to be. They're like, now this is the way we think it's going to be, and people will honestly more accept that nowadays because they're more taught through media than they are through the Bible and their own kind of knowledge that they seek after. They're more taught by media, which is kind of crazy. So they always try to twist it a bit.
Absolutely, man. And I'm glad that you had a chance to call in too, by the way. And I'm sorry you had to work on New Year's Day, but you probably got a little extra cash for that, I imagine.
Yeah, I got a little bit.
Well, there we go. That always helps. But man, I'm pretty much at the top of my show here, so I'm gonna have to go. But hopefully the next time you can call in, because it's always nice to talk with you. Folks out there might not be familiar. This is Ben Farmer, and check out his YouTube channel as well. He does a lot of videos there too. Anything else you want to say, Ben, before we go?
Nope. Just keep on doing what you're doing because I love it. And there's a lot of people out there, that they look to you for a lot of information, and you open up a lot of eyes to people from a lot of different stages in life and different type of people. You speak to people who, like me, who are very, into the Bible and into Jesus and stuff like that, but you also speak to people on different, that aren't into that. And you get your message across, and it's, to me, you have a good message of love and joy and good wisdom that people need to get, and so just keep it up.
Oh, man, I said I wasn't going to cry. Ben, stop it. No, seriously. Thank you, man. I appreciate it, buddy. You too. Take care. All right, guys. It was Ben Farmer, our friend, and it looks like we're pretty much at the top of the second hour here. So I just wanted to get a little bit of time here. Just wanted to say thanks again, everybody, and I hope you all have a great new year. Let's make the best of 2015. We do walk a fine line because we watch. We're all watching it all. We're watching in a biblical prophecy kind of a way. We're watching the New World Order. We're watching all the things that happen in between. Very exciting times. Don't let it induce fear. If it is, then change it up the way you're looking at it. Maybe you need to look at the spiritual more. Lean on God. Many of us here follow Jesus Christ as well. And this has nothing to do with religion, but faith. And these are the days we're in. Many of us believe. So, anyway, guys, this is KJ signing out for Rigged Reality Radio. Once again, thank you very much, and we'll talk to you next week. Take care.